Hello and welcome you once again in this new topic of English literature. Today's topic is a story written by H. Munro, The Cunning Young Man. A story of a cunning man. Now let's start with the story. Norman Godsby sat on a bench in the park, which was fenced by a park railing. Hyde Park Corner lay immediately to his right. It was some 30 minutes past 6 on the early March evening, and dusk had fallen heavily over the scene. There was a wide emptiness over the road and sidewalk, and many people moved suddenly through the half light or were sitting on the bench and chairs in a park. The dusk painted a picture of gloom and morbidity. It was a evening of the early March, around 6:30. Almost emptiness was there. It was a Hyde Park. It was park's name was a Hyde Park, and there was a loneliness, a dullness. Some few peoples are moving, and it's it is 6:30 evening. The scene pleased Godsby and harmonized with his present mood. Dusk, to his mind, was the hour of the defeated. He was sitting over there for an more than a half. He was upset, and the situation is almost similar what he is thinking in his mind. Men and women looked as if they had lost the battle of life, and in the twilight hour they were trying to hide their miserable clothing from others. So God's spy imaginations pictured things as he sat on his bench in the almost empty place. Money troubles did not press on him. Had he so wished, he could have strolled into the thoroughfares of light and noise and taken his place among those who enjoyed prosperity or struggled for it. So, Godsby, he was sitting over there. He was not feeling good. He was upset from the money, from the battle of life, and the situation over there at that moment, emptiness throughout the park. It gives him some pleasure. Next to him, on the bench, sat an old man. An old man is sitting just beside to him, who looked defeated but refused to admit his defeat. He was looking defeated, that means he also was a worried person, but he was not showing his worriness. His clothes were not shabby, it was not dirty, but not too much expenses also, or not it's a new one. As he got up, Godsby imagined him returning to a home where he was snubbed and nobody cared about him. When he got up, that man, Godsby noticed that this person is not noticeable. If he is returning to home, no one will snub him. It means he is an ignored person in his home also. His retreating figure vanished slowly into the shadows, and his place on the bench was taken almost immediately by a young man, fairly well dressed, but scarcely more cheerful than his predecessors, as if to emphasize the fact that he was unhappy and troubled. The newcomer uttered a curse as he sat. So, as soon as this man left the bench, a young man came. He was in a well dressed, but he seems that he was very much worried. It seems that he was very much worried and he was searching something. So God's boy asked him, "You don't seem in a very good temper," said God's spy, judging that he was expected to show some sympathy. God's spy said him in a sympathetic way, "What happened to you? Why are you so worried?" The young man turned to him with a look of frankness which put him instantly on his guard. "You would not be in a good temper if you were in fix. I am in," he said. "I have done the silliest thing I have ever done in my life." So young man said, "Yes, I am very much upset because what I have done, it's the silliest thing I have ever done in my life." So God's spy said, "What happened to you? Why you are so upset?" "Came up this afternoon meaning to stay at the Pantagonian Hotel in Berkshire Square." So he said that young man said that he arrived in this city just this afternoon only and he want to stay in a hotel. The name of this hotel was Pantagonian. It's in a Berkshire Square. Berkshire Square is a place like this. You have the place like in Kapurthala Chowra. So like that, it was a place in that area. It was known as a Berkshire Square, and there was one hotel. Its name was Pantagonian Hotel. Continued the young man, "When I got there, I found it had been pulled down some weeks ago and a cinema theatre ran up on the site." He said, "When I came to this city in the morning, I was in the Berkshire. I saw that the hotel where I want to be checked in, the name of the hotel was Pantagonian Hotel. It is in a Berkshire Square. But what I saw, it has been demolished. It has been demolished by the corporation, and in the place of that building, that hotel, a new theater is under construction in that site. The taxi driver recommended me to another hotel some way off and I went there." "I just sent a letter to my people giving them the address and then I went out to buy some soap." So a taxi driver, he recommended me to get to the another hotel. I went over there and then I sent some letter to my peoples giving them the address and then I went out to buy some soap. So I, after giving a letter to my known people that now I am not staying in the Pantagonian Hotel, I am staying in this hotel, and I went to buy some soap. I had forgotten to pack any and I hate using hotel soap. Then I strolled out a bit, had a drink at a bar, and looked at the shops. And when I came to turn my steps back to the hotel, I suddenly realized that I didn't remember its name or even what street it was is. In a strange situation for a man who hasn't any friends or connections in London. That means it is a place in London. So what that person said, young man, ki from hotel, actually I don't like to use the soap of the hotel. So I went to a shop, I purchased a soap, and from there I went to a bar. I drink over there, and from that bar I tried to go to my hotel, but what I realized that I forget my hotel name. The street where I am, I lost everything. It is a strange situation for a man who has no friends, no one in this city of London. I am without any money, came out with about a shilling on me, which I spent on buying the soap and drink. And here I am wandering about the two pence in my pockets and nowhere to go for the night. Then he said that I I had no money also. All my monies are kept in the hotel because I kept my purse in my hotel. But what I had some a shilling over there with me, shilling as money, and that I spent in the drink, and I bought a soap. I have only two pence in my pocket, and I don't know where to go now because neither I am remembering the hotel nor I am remembering the street. I don't have any money in my pockets. So, what to do now? I am very much puzzled. There was a pause after the story. After saying that, he stopped. I supposed you think I have spun you rather impossible yarn, said the young man, feeling hurt. Not at all impossible, said Godspy. I remember doing exactly the same thing once in a foreign capital. And on the occasion there were two of us, which made it more remarkable. Luckily, we remembered that the hotel was on the sort of canal, and when we reached the canal, we were able to find out way back to the hotel. He said, "No, no, no. I understand that you are not making fun of it because once me and my friend went to some foreign capital, it was the capital of that foreign country, and two of us forget the in which hotel we were staying. But suddenly I remembered that near the hotel it was a canal. So we reached to the canal, and from there we went back to the hotel." The young brightened a little when he heard this. In a foreign city, I wouldn't mind to so much, he said. He could go to one consul and get help from him. Here is one's own land, one is far more helpless if one get into a fix. Unless I can find some decent person to believe my story and lend me some money, I will be forced to spend the night at on the embankment. I am glad, anyhow, that you don't think the story absolutely impossible. He said, I am very much upset. I don't know what to do. If someone helps me, otherwise, I have to sleep on the embankment. But I am happy that you are believing me. He threw a good deal of warmth into a last remark. Then he said, as though perhaps to indicate his hope that Godspy was a decent person. Of course, said Godspy slowly, the weak point of your story is that you can't produce any soap. The young man sat forward hurriedly, felt rapidly in a pocket of his overcoat, and then jumped to his feet. I must have lost it, he muttered angrily. Then Godspy said, no, no, your story, you are not saying the story. It, it is true that you have lost the way where you have to go, but I think the soap which you have purchased, it is with you, still with you. Then what young man has done, he began to search the soap and said, I must have lost it. He muttered angrily. To lose a hotel and soap on an afternoon show carelessness, said Godspy. But the young man scarcely waited to hear the end of the remark. He walked away down the path, his head held high, with an air of anger and pride. So he said, I am the silliest person. I must leave this place now. I have lost my soap. I have forget the name of my hotel. I forget the street name. I am the hopeless person. I must leave this place now. And he went away from there. Now, to be a genius, you need to be a smart and take precautions. So now he said, God's boy, you must be a smart person. You must take care of yourself and be careful. With that, the God's boy rose to go as he did. So he was surprised, cried, lying on the ground by the side of the bench on the small oval packet. When he suddenly, then God's boy also said, now I have to go to my home. He stood up. What he saw that there was a packet. He opened that packet. What he saw? He saw a soap over there. Now he believed that this young boy, was a true person. He was not making fool to me. So what he have done? God's boy took that soap and he ran. God's boy was running along the dark path looking for a young, youthful figure in a light overcoat. He had nearly given up his search when he found the man all of a sudden. He began to run in that dark, but he found that person. The important witness of your story is here. He said, yes, the main important witness of your story is that your soap. I found your cake of soap. It must be have slipped from your overcoat pocket when you sat down on the seat. You must excuse my earlier disbelief, but circumstances were against you, and now can I lend you some money? So he said, please forgive me. I was not believing you, but now I believe that the soap was belonged to you. It has been slipped from your overcoat, and now I am also giving you some money. The young man quickly took the money. Here is my card with my address, continued God's spy. You can return the money any day this week. He said, this is my card, this is my address. If you want, you can return my money by this week. And it's your soap. Now take your soap. There is a soap. Don't lose it again. It has been a good friend to you. Thank God you found it. He said, thank you very much that you found my soap. And he went away from there, from the opposite direction. Now what happened? See, it's a very interesting thing is going to be happen now. Poor boy, he nearly broke down, said God's spy by himself. I am not surprised. It must have been such a great relief to him. But I have learned my lesson never to be quick judging people. As God's spy walked back to the seat where the little drama had taken place, he saw the old man. He saw that old man. He said, no, it is my lesson that you should not judge the people with his behavior. Maybe he is a true person. That the young boy, he now still he seems thinks that that young boy was true person. But what had happened? A little drama has taken place. He again returned back to that bench. So what he saw that old man, he was sitting earlier there. He was searching something. He was desperately searching something. Then I asked him, have you lost anything, sir? God's spy asked. Yes, sir. A cake of soap. That means that cake of soap was that old man, and this young man was a person. He was a cunning person. He saw that old man had slipped that soap cake from his pocket. So he made that plan how to snatch the money from God's by his cunning mind. So this is the story of a cunning man. Hope you have understand this lesson. Once again, read this lesson and follow this video. We will meet once again in my next session with a new story. Till then, take care. Have a nice day.